Good evening and bienvenue, my fond fair friends, family, and subscribers. This is your humble narrator, Diomedes Rouge, here to bring you part 7 of What If Deku Was a Brachidios. Now, where we last left off, they just got through with the hero versus villains exams. And, well, Izuku brought over Kirishima and Kaminari to essentially train. Why, you may ask? Well, I explained it there, but I'll explain it here too as a bit of a refresher. They're really his only guy friends, in all honesty. I mean, he has Uncle Yaoyorozu and everything, but he's more of like a father figure and all that. So, it's kind of good for guys to be around other guys at points in time. Makes them feel more at ease. They're able to talk things out more. All that jazz. But in addition to that, it was primarily to work on combination attacks. Because I will say, over his period of time with Ida, Todoroki, Momo, he's worked out combination attacks with them, especially Ida. He had quite a few months to work out with, well, her. So, it's good to develop more different types of scenarios and abilities just in case. So, a couple of days pass on and they train in and out. Coming over to his house, they go out, relax. Little sis Momo gets a little bit jealous because, you know, she's always had Izuku all to herself, essentially. Like, sure, she would have to share the time with Ida and Todoroki, but, it was mostly just them. And I know, no ship, it's just, that's like her big brother and everything. That's how she views him, and, well, siblings do get jealous of that. So, yeah, that keeps going on, but she realizes this is his first guy friends, and she kinda lets it go out without too much of a hitch. She gets a bit pouty at times, but, that's what siblings do. Pardon me. So now we continue on to, well, the bus drive to the USJ. Oh, and this is gonna be fun. So, the first thing that happens once they reach the USJ is Deku begins feeling something. Well, I should probably start at the bus ride. My apologies. There was a bit of setup beforehand, and I'm getting way too eager. I need to slow my roll. So, during the bus ride there, Izuku picks a spot near the rear of the bus just to, well, mainly sleep. He doesn't mind longer trips and everything, but car rides make him sleepy. Always have. So he gets it to the back just so no one really notices. And, well, upon getting to the back, that's when Ida walks back there and, well, sits down right next to him. Kaminari and Kirishima were about to do the same thing whenever, well, Kaminari winds up getting talked into sitting down around Dupla Arms. Why? Well, simple. Dupla Arms is actually a fairly nice guy, and he was wanting to ask more about Kaminari's quirk and such, considering he's never really been around a lot of, well, monsters in general growing up. Because I will say, usually quirked males are brought up a little bit differently than than the monster quirked males. So I wanted to make sure and ask questions and be all inquisitive, and that's kind of how the whole discussion of the quirks and such started, and how they work, who they work with, what's their flaws and everything else, and that's whenever everything started slowing down, and then they start trying to ask, hey, what's Deku's abilities? Like, we see what he can do, but what does he do in general? And they just hear, huh? 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 As Ida kind of shakes him awake, be like, oh, what, are we there yet? No, they're trying to ask you a question. Huh? What is your abilities? Oh, sorry, what now? What are your abilities? What your quirk? Like, oh, I turn into a Brachidios. Night. Not. Answer them honestly, Zuko. Come on. Fine, fine. I turn into a Brachidios. I'm able to produce an explosive slime throughout throughout the sides of my arms and these specialized little sockets right here that, store them. In my hybridized state, the slime's a lot less potent, but I'm more agile, able to bounce around real quick and maneuver more efficiently. In my monster form, everything's bigger, badder, and stronger, but I wind up being able to cause a bit more damage, but it's harder for me to dodge stuff. Unless I just full on jump or dig. Dig? Dig. Yeah, I can burrow underground at pretty extreme speeds if I want to. What does that mean? Around 30 to 40 miles an hour in any given direction. But wouldn't that cause unstable ground? To be like, somewhat, but the ground usually collapses in behind me anyways. It fills back up, so yeah, probably, but not as unstable as you think. Uh-huh. Do you ever run out of slime? Yes. I've actually been working on that. How have you been working on that? Eating phosphates, metals, different types of high intensity, highly reactive substances, alkaline metals. Isn't alkaline metals the thing that goes, boom whenever it makes contact with water? Technically you're right, but technically you're wrong. It doesn't go boom, it starts igniting. But yes. That's pretty much what it does. How were you even able to eat it then? Cover it in a good thick oil. Tastes disgusting, but it's soft enough to where you can chew it. But it's a metal. Well, you gotta remember I'm a Brachidios for one. Metal ain't all that hard to chew. Two, it's an alkaline metal, which means it's actually quite soft. It literally cuts like butter. I know, it's weird, right? Yeah. And why do you eat it? To increase the potency of my slime. What happens when you run out of it, though? I usually have to reload it. or cause the producers to react again, I should say. How you do that? I lick them. You lick them. Yep. Why not just cover it in water? Water will actually douse it out. Cause the slime to... Well, water is an anticoagulant to it, and the slime needs to coagulate in order for it to, you know, develop. You put water into it, well, it just kind of turns into a mush and runs off. Saliva, on the other hand, especially my saliva, causes it to go into overdrive and react a lot better. And boom. And is it me, or why is your hair always shiny? Ah, slime nodes. Slime nodes? Yeah. My hair is actually supposed to be dark brown, but due to the slime nodes around my body, whenever I turn into a Brachidios, my, well, the top, I grow a horn, and, well, hair is just a form of keratin, which is, well, bone. The hair kind of becomes the horn, if you will. And, well, at least the top part of it produces slime at a high intense rate. More intense than even the arm producers, mainly because I probably can't lick that part without just licking my arms and trying to rub it. So, weird. Yeah, weird, kind of disgusting, but hey, it makes things go boom, so not too bad. I mean, it's not like I sweat nitroglycerin. Hey! Sorry, you know I had to bring it up. I mean, sorry, but hey, what? At least you don't have to smell like your own saliva all day. What, at least you don't have to smell like your own saliva all day? I mean, geez. You know how you know how weird it is for me whenever I actually have to do that? There's a reason why I avoid doing it. Like, I even measured the amount of slime I could produce out on an hourly basis and how long it takes for me to regenerate that amount without having to lick it. So then why don't you just stop licking it? Well, one, it's a monster trait. It's kind of like a survival instinct. And two, I've tried. It's gotten to a point to where if I'm not nervous or anything like that, it only occurs maybe when I'm down to only a third of production. You could kind of tell my arms will stop glowing as brightly. That's always another question I've asked. I wanted to know. What? How come your slime only explodes when it's off of your body? It doesn't. It doesn't? No, it can explode direct contact. It just depends on when it oxidizes. Oxidizes? The slime is more like a slime mold. There's a thin sheen of slime, and there's a thin, thicker layer of slime at the top of it, at the very cusp of it, than there is anywhere else. Once that's broken through, though, however, the air gets to it. When the air gets to it, it causes a chain reaction, and boom. So really, if anything really were to touch you, and it triggered that slime, oh yeah, more than likely someone's losing a hand or whatever they touched me with. That's kind of scary. You kind of have like an ultimate defense. Not really. What do you mean? Well, you kind of have to build up your body to resist it. So for the longest time, I had to train in secret for God knows how long in order to build up my body's endurance to the explosions. But I thought you were explosion proof. You didn't think that we all started off that way, did you? Yeah? Oh, hell no. No Brachidio starts off explosion proof. In fact, there have been quite a few of us that wind up in the hospitals due to our own explosions trying to kill us. That's kinda scary. Yeah, but survival of the fittest. That's a weird thing coming from you. Yeah, I know, but that's basically what my dad used to tell me. Only the Brachidios that survives the longest can, well, truly become the most powerful. Really? It kind of goes counterintuitive to what you told us about him. Well, that's what he said. It's never said it's what he believed. But he said it. That's because his grandpa told him. And so on and so forth. My dad added a little something to it, though. What? Just because you're strong doesn't mean you're right. Only the Brachidios that survives the longest can be the strongest. However, just because you're the strongest doesn't mean you're the right one in the right. Not at all. And my dad believed that. Just because you're the strongest doesn't mean you're right. Yeah, that sounds a lot more like the guy you described to us. What can I say? If you don't mind me, I'm going back to sleep. Boom! And so he does. Everyone goes about with their discussion, and I'm not gonna tell what their discussions are because Deku's asleep, and we're seeing this world through his eyes. Dang it. Cut your narrator some slack. I'm already on a time crunch. So, we get to UA, Deku's stretching, he's smelling the air like, oh, that was a good nap. Which one? Both of them. They all get into the, well, main area of the USJ. And that's when Deku begins smelling something. His instincts are kicking in and he's beginning to feel something is off. Kirishima, Kaminari. Yeah, get ready. What do you mean? You feel that, right? Feel what? Kirishima says. Kaminari lets loose, yeah. Yeah, it's a little tense, isn't it? Yup, and it ain't me. Something bad's about to happen. As Aizawa perks up. What the hell are you three doing? Why are you so far around? Why are you spread out amongst the others in such a wide radius? Something's going down, boss. Something's going down. What do you mean something's going down? What do you mean? Explain yourselves. I don't know. But for right now, I'm on edge. And the last time I was on edge, well, you know what happened last time I was on edge. Listen, I get you're nervous. This isn't about nerves, about the test. This is more about something dangerous is coming to beat our ass. That's nonsense as a portal opens up. Be like, you say, I told you. As they all turn around and be like, what do you mean you told us? Says, well, the League of Villains show up in their misfit motley crew. A lot of women are there, as well as a few monsters pop in throughout. And boy, oh boy, is it ever fun. Because most of these guys, well, they're not exactly what you call very big and bad monsters. No. They're ones that were closer to the bottom of the food chain. The ones that kept on getting bullied, picked on, harassed, and they got tired of it. They sought out protection. They sought out gangs. They sought out family that would help them, that they could bond together with. And well, they found it. Unfortunately, these gangs, as most gangs are highly violent and volatile, wanting to use their power to try and take down other people who have even slightly more power than they are. and try and drag everyone down to their level. Looks like we're dealing with some packs there, as well as quite a few people who are sprinkled in. A few quirk users and everything else. Kirishima Fortress. Got it. As Kirishima goes full monstification into his Garvios form. And well, not Garvios, Gravios. Man, they made those names too darn close together. Gravios form, and well, gets in front of everything. In case you don't know, the Gravios' exterior hide, it's about as durable and as powerful as a boulder itself. So yes, that sucker right there, he's got a lot of defense on him. As Kirishima gets in the immediate way of everyone, he goes, Momo. Yeah, bro? Simple. Now it's time for the barrage. What? Momo, heavy rain, let's go. Right. As Aizawa's going, heavy rain? As Momo starts, creating. 3-pound 3-pound rubber balls. Now, why is she creating these, you ask? Simple. Each one she's creating, she's throwing to Deku. And for everyone that gets thrown to Deku, it gets hammered straight up into the sky. Until eventually, and every single one that gets hammered up into the sky has a small bit of slime on the back of it, barely covering 1/3 of the ball. However, as we all know, Deku's more than what he appears to be. Because he is, as we all know at this point, quite intelligent. And for each ball he's hit, he's factored in not only the wind resistance, the ball's rotations, but also the amount of time it would take for the explosion to go off. And he's set this up in a specific manner. He's launched every single one of the balls that has been thrown at him, up to 100 at this point. Because I would say Kirishima's little makeshift barrier using himself is more than ample of blocking any forward attacks. As all in the sky they hear boom as these 3-pound chunks of rubber that are now blisteringly hot due to explosions come flying down, impacting and, squelching onto their targets. Imagine, if you will, getting hit with a beanbag round out of a shotgun. Now, imagine that said beanbag round was made up of very hot molten rubber. Yes, that's essentially what each one of them is feeling. Every one of them is getting pelted with super hot molten rubber that is impacting them at around 1,800 to 2,000 feet per second. In other words, if the initial force of the hit doesn't knock you out, or possibly kill you, the resulting melting plastic certainly not going to make you feel any better. Not plastic, rubber. Big difference. All they hear from the back from that little... And I will say, a few of them did miss. He wasn't aiming. It's kind of hard to factor in everything he went for mass volume, reason for the name Heavy Rain. Because trying to figure out where each one of those goes and what they're going to impact, I would say would be even difficult by his standards. But just the sheer fact that he was able to launch them all up and have them angled in a certain direction before they went before the explosion went off, I say that's more than within the realms of possibility. And all they hear from the enemy is, well, massive screaming. Because, molten rubber. Yeah. That's not good. That's not a good smell. That's not a good feeling at all. So yes, a lot of screaming, a lot of begging, a lot of running away. Because a lot of these guys just saw about maybe 50% to 75% of the first wave just get wiped out by rubber balls raining from the sky. And that's when he tells Momo, okay, that's enough for now. Take a break, recharge. Right. As she kind of pulls out a small candy bar and starts chowing down. Why would you ask? Well, he's kind of figured out that her power revolves around her fat lipids. And he figured keep an extra supply of sugar and, well, something like that on stock with her could help her not only keep refreshed during the fight due to how exhausted she gets from creating things, but can also help her, well, keep calm. Then he says, alright, we need to focus down. Looks like they locked the areas behind us. Ida, with me. Kirishima, Kaminari, focus on offense. Flare blitz the left-hand side. Bakugo, Todoroki. Yes? Well, how do I put this? Right-hand side, make them feel hell. Of course. Wow. You could be a bit ruthless whenever you're getting charged. What can I say? It's nice. Rest of you, break into teams. Follow with them. I'm gonna try and get us a way out of here. As well, Deku goes full monstification and goes towards a wall. And he starts battering the ever-loving shit out of it. Why'd you want me over here with you, Deku? What's going on? Izuku, what's going on? Simple. I'm gonna get you out of here. What? I can fight by myself. I don't need you to fight. We need you to go get help. What? What do you mean? You're the fastest one here. We can hold them off for maybe an hour at most, but if they have more reinforcements that are bigger than that, we're gonna be out. We're gonna be SOL without a shadow of a paddle. We need someone to get the UA and get them out and get, well, the heroes. You're the fastest person I know. As he rears his head back and slams it into the wall, releasing a, well, metric ton of slime. Just. That wall kind of collapses down because I will say it was not designed to handle a Brachidios breach. Very few things are. Now, go. But no buts. Me and everyone here can hold them off for a period of time. We're ready for this. It's what we're here for. But we're not professionals. Only Aizawa is. Only Aizawa and Miss 13 are. Only Miss Aizawa and 13 are. And to be honest, two professionals with experience does not an army make. We need reinforcements severely. And you're the only person I know who can get there within a 5-minute time span and back in that same amount of time. if I were to send Kaminari or Kirishima out there, well, Kirishima would take 20 minutes maximum just to get there, and Kaminari, he may only take 5 minutes to get there, but he doesn't have a lot of stamina. He'd run short about 10 minutes getting back. We need everyone here at full force. So go. Don't worry. I'll be fine. You sure? Huh. This is me we're talking about. In the back of my head, I always did want to face down an army. Of course you would. You better not die out there, you battle maniac. I don't plan to. As she takes off. Now, in case you're wondering, our good friend Kaminari here is, well, how do we say this? Remember his orders for the left-hand side, the flare blitz? Oh, yes. Allow me to explain. It first starts off with, well, Kirishima letting loose a metric ton of fireballs loose. I'd say a good 16 at most, because if you've never seen the Gravius, yeah, not only do they shoot I'm firing my laser attack, they shoot fireballs as well, because why the hell wouldn't they? And while he does that, Kaminari runs in right behind him and supercharges himself into his, well, for any of the fans that have seen Monster Hunter, you know what a supercharged Zenogre looks like. For those of you that don't, allow me to describe it in decent detail. The yellow parts of the fur you see on there become a light blue essence of, well, by being coated with sheer electricity. The horns have a great, they look as if they're pure blue and fully ready to gorge and electrify the living crap out of you. And, well, he can also do something along the lines of this. As soon as he catches up to where how the fireball speeds, or at least within range, he does a giant spin by leaping into the air and making his body twist. And in doing so, he lets loose balls of high electricity. Oh yes. He does this by releasing by basically spinning in a certain direction, shooting out a small amount of hairs off of his body that contain a metric crap ton of static electricity. And in turn, well, not static, more like high composed electricity. I'll explain how his works shortly. High density electricity. And once they, meet with the fireballs, because, oh yes, that's where it's going to. The fireballs get a are now supercharged with lightning, and are going in at a much faster rate, and are going in and exploding at a much higher yield. Oh, a typical fireball only has about a 5-foot radius when it blows up, and is only about maybe a 10-foot explosion at best. Theirs is a 20-foot radius by 30-foot explosion, and there's 16 of these bastards going off. Oh yes. The entire field becomes coated in, explosion! For those of you who got that reference, I am so sorry you had to hear me say that. For those of you who didn't, look up Konosuba. back to the show. After that side goes down, Bakugo and, well, Todoroki are off, well, fighting. Todoroki's letting loose giant pillars of ice and, well, Bakugo's causing them to, well, fall down and explode, shattering and fragmenting into the enemy. Whenever the bullets start flying from the enemy shooter squad, well, we all know this scene. Aizawa drips down, canceling their quirks, and beating the ever-loving crap out of them. That's whenever things start getting slightly out of hand. Pardon me? That's whenever, well, Kurogiri tells Mr. Shigaraki, I do believe we're running into a bit of a opposition. I'm going to try and maneuver them around and change up their formations, but considering how disciplined they seem to be acting, it may not matter too much. Shigaraki says, you do that and I'll organize for the Nomu to enter the field. As you wish. As Kurogiri essentially is buying time, opening up portals, separating people as Deku finally gets back into the fray. Everyone gets essentially tossed around the USJ via portal. Kaminari winds up on the westernmost point with a lot of mountains and greenery and grasslands and trees. Meanwhile, Kirishima's in the skyscraper portions. And Deku, well, Deku didn't get teleported anywhere. Because he wasn't seen as an immediate threat because he just got back from blowing a hole in the wall. Let's take a minor break and cut to Ida here real quick. Why, yes. Ida. Oh, Ida's running fast and hard. Alright, kicked it into overdrive using One for All, and she is hauling ass. I mean, she is hauling tail so fast, where she's easily going 90 miles an hour. She says, 5 minutes? I'll beat that time easy. You aren't dying on my watch, you idiot. I'll go beyond. Whatever you think I'll do. I'll show you what I can really do. You crazy bastard. As she proceeds to go faster and faster and faster. Cranking up the usage from 30% to 35, 40. Each time with every 5% boost, she's gaining another 10 miles an hour, going from 90 miles, 100, 115, 120. She is hauling ass. Any cars or traffic that gets in the way, she immediately just perceives them and swerves off to the side, keeping her speed as she maneuvers around them with ease. She's running fast and hard, harder than she's ever gone before. Her engines are glowing bright white by the time she's able to reach UA. In 2 minutes, 45 seconds. As soon as she stops, her engines are smoking. She is sweating pails on pails of, well, sweat. She barges in and runs straight to the principal's office. The USJ's under attack. We need help. What? What's going on? Nezu responds. What do you mean it's under attack? Villains. They somehow got control of the area. Locked it down with a bunch of the guys, all Class 1A inside. In addition to that, they're bringing in a bunch of villains for them to fight. They're fighting back as hard as they can, but I don't know how much longer they can last without actual support. Nezu goes, alright, you take a rest. No. Give me some water, and I'm heading back. No. Take a rest, you're exhausted. I'm not leaving this fight undone. As Nezu presses the emergency call button for, well, essentially every hero he can, Endeavor gets the call. Almighty gets the call. Even Miracle gets the call, and she's in the middle of she's in another goddamn country, and she's going, well, I can't do anything about this. A whole bunch of people get the call, and they immediately start turning their heads towards the USJ. But let's not focus on that. Let's cut back to, well, the USJ now. Deku realizes this is a diversion. They're calling it, they're doing something. Our forces have been split across everywhere. Gotta create a distraction and get everyone to a central point. As he essentially starts, well, doing what Deku does best, thinking. But before he can ponder it too long, a blood-curdling yell is heard. The howl of a monster. The howl of a furious beast. The howl of an apex predator. Oh yes. Kaminari hears it. Kirishima hears it. Deku hears it. Everyone hears this blood-curdling roar. As, well, a portal opens up, and a bright yellow glow is seen emitting from it as it exits. A furious Rajang has just entered the field. But it's not just any Furious Rajang. It's a Furious Rajang Nomu. With regeneration and shock absorption, as you all would know. Oh yes. Oh yes. This is gonna be fun. Izuku immediately sees this for the threat it is. And he charges. He's abandoning all plans at this point. He's just wanting to make sure this thing doesn't go out and try and devastate the people he cares about. Because if we do know one thing about Izuku, his heart does get the best of him. And it does overwhelm his, well, hyper-intelligence, you could say. So he charges in full speed. And what happens whenever he finally gets up close to this Rajang? It smacks the ever-loving shit out of him. What? You really thought that a standard Brachidios was stronger than a Rajang? Especially a Furious Rajang? Sorry to tell you this, but no. Furious Rajang is very powerful. Powerful enough to lift a, well, a near mountain-sized boulder by itself. And hurl it. Yes, not even a Brachidios carapace can hold up to that amount of torment for long. Yes, a Furious Rajang is powerful. However, in this case, it's very dumb. Because as soon as it made contact, well, there goes that slime again. Boom! the hand of the Rajang is immediately blown off. Deku gets sent into a tailspin as he regains his bearings and stands back up. As the Rajang begins to regrow its hand, you see the bones begin to form around the muscle fibers as they all reconnect. And it just looks at him very, very intently. Kurogiri and Shigaraki are looking at this. Kurogiri says, "Shall I assist?" "No. Let this drag on. I want to see this fight." As Aizawa jumps in and says, "I won't let you harm my students, you ugly monster." As she opens her eyes and tries to nullify the quirks. The only problem is, this thing is still, about 5 times her size, and even if you nullify the quirks, that's still a lot of power. Because unlike a standard human that goes into a monster transformation, this is a Nomu. That is its form. That is its body. That is its muscles. It tries swinging at Aizawa. Deku gets in the way, charging through, countering its blow with his. Boom! But in doing so, his right slime producer shatters, leaving that Brachidios arm somewhat bare. But it didn't go without a scratch. More slime was produced onto the Rajang. And when it blows up this time, it's sent reeling back a good 30 feet. And in turn, loses the entire arm on its left side. But that doesn't concern it much, because in a matter of a few seconds, it begins to grow it back. Shigaraki says, "Interesting. To think that this Nomu type would be so resilient, and that we get to take out something that could have been a pain in our ass later. This is going to be quite fun." As then Shigaraki yells, "Don't you get it, you moron? It has regeneration and shock absorption. You can't harm it." And that's when Deku remarks, "Good. It would be too boring for me if it didn't have all those abilities." "What?" "Oh yeah. I've always wanted a fight like this." "Oh really now?" "Yeah. A fight I wouldn't mind not walking away from. You monsters are all the same. Wanting to fight your ways through countless hordes of enemies. That's where you're wrong. A monster doesn't fight because they enjoy it. They fight because it's territorial. They fight because of a need. I'm the human here. This is my human side of me, telling me to fight with everything. This is the human side of me that doesn't mind not walking away from a fight. Because you see, I discovered this early on in my life. If you want a real monster, you don't look for the ones with glowing eyes. Boom! As he tries to tackle the Rajang. As the Rajang begins to try and throw Deku. But in this case, he gets underneath and is able to flip him over and pound at him. Boom! 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 If you want a real monster, you don't look at, boom, the things that glow. Boom! The things that summon lightning. Boom! The things that roar. Boom! or the things that chow down on others. You look at the ones that stand on two legs as the Rajang counters, throwing him aside. You look at the ones as Deku gets back up and shoulder rushes into it. Shoulder rushes straight into the Rajang, causing it to lose its balance and flip over as he goes higher on the offensive, trying to beat this thing into submission. You look at humans. Boom! Compared to them, all we are. Compared to them, all monsters are kittens in comparison. As he thinks he's won and begins to walk over towards Shigaraki. A few seconds later, you hear a loud explosion. The Rajang's chest is, well, beaten, battered, bit broken, but it's still alive. As Deku begins to hear this thing, he goes, ah, shit, as he turns around and just sees the electricity begin to amplify. That's when Shigaraki says, yes, you're right. Humanity is monstrous. And that's the reason why your kind shouldn't exist. As the Nomu Rajang slams into him at full strength, cracking his carapace, sending poor Izuku flying hard and fast. He first goes 15 feet, hits the ground, flips. He goes another 30, till he finally crashes into a large rock formation. Everyone turns to him, seeing what's going on. They all begin to gather. Well, at least the ones that can. Todoroki and Bakugo run as fast as they can. Bakugo using her explosions to fly. The Rajang firing its mouth laser. Its pure beam of lightning, of electrical energy flowing straight from it, trying to hit the ones that are flying, mainly Bakugo. Nearly missing, nearly dodging, getting just barely scraped on it by her leg, sending her into a tailspin. She finally lands close. Izu, wake up! Izuku's out cold. Near dead from one blow. As Todoroki gets over, able to make her way, trying to guard everyone that's there, using a giant barrier of ice. Mineta and Froppy have, well, done their whole trick with the capturing the villains that were underwater and using his sticky balls, and, well, ran off. Meanwhile, Kaminari and Kirishima hear the telltale roar of their friend as he makes a thudding impact. They go beyond angry. They go beyond furious. They go beyond raging. They are pure primal instinct at this point. Their friend who counted on them. Their friend who trusted them enough to let him into his own home and tell them his secrets could now be dead? Oh no. So they rush in, not caring about the villains in front of them. They barge through any monster that gets in these two's way right now. Wow, they have a death wish. Because they're charging through and they're flipping over and they're smashing through and they're battering anything. The Rajang sees them both coming and it smiles. Or at least it would if it had any brain left. But Shigaraki does so for it. As it just tells him, sick them, boy. Sick 'em, Nomu. And the Nomu does. The Rajang charges, and met by a pure powerhouse charged by a Xenogore. But the Zenogre, it's greatly outmatched. Poor Kaminari meets it headlong just to get picked up by his neck and thrown to his side like a rag doll. Kirishima tries using aerial support to blast it out of the sky with its fire beam. Well, not out of the sky, tries to blast it from the sky. But it's quickly met and countered with its electrical beam. They have a clash of beams until eventually Kirishima's overwhelmed and is, well, knocked out of the sky. Shigaraki is laughing, hysterically laughing, just going, look at all you pathetic souls. Did you really think you could rely on these monsters to protect you? They're nothing more than mindless beasts. They're nothing more than animals. And you really thought that they could stop anything? Oh, how pathetic you all are. I'm going to enjoy wiping the floor with you until All Might gets here. Until Almighty gets here. You're all gonna be my new Nomu's playthings. And that's where we're gonna take a pause and go into Izuku's head. Because right now, what Izuku's seeing is a field of white. Of pure, blank white. And he hears something. Someone call out to him in a soft, gentle voice. Izuku goes, who's there? Who's there? Izuku. Izuku. Oh, who are you? My head's pounding. What's going on? I need to get back. Izuku, calm down. As a soft hand reaches out and touches his hair. Who are you? It's okay, sweetie, I'm here. Who are you? I'm your mother. Very funny. I guess I got hit harder than I thought. My mother's been dead for years. Yes, dear. I have. Wait, are you saying I'm dead? No. You're nearly there, but you're not quite. Okay. I need to go back. I need to save them. How are you going to do that? By any means necessary. Even if that means throwing your life away? Of course. I'm a hero. That's what heroes do, after all, isn't it? No. What? Heroes don't throw their lives away needlessly. You're one to talk. You died doing something you cared about. Yes, something I cared about. I died protecting others. If you go out there and face that monster like you are, all you're going to do is hurt yourself more and more. And if I don't, people will die. Yes, but if you keep fighting it this way, people will die regardless and you'll just be added to it. And what do you want me to do then, Mother? What am I supposed to do? Stand aside? No. as she gets up and smacks him on the head. Think. What? You're going crazy. You need to think. Think. You're your father's son, alright, but you're my son too. You have my smarts and your father's heart. Just because you're using one doesn't mean you can't use both. Try, Izuku. Think. You know how to win. You have to think. Think of what? Strategize. Plan. Your opponent's stronger than you. Your opponent's faster than you. What do you do? That's it. That's it. It's gonna hurt like hell, but that just might do it. There it's my boy. Now, go on. Be a hero. A true hero. As Zuko wakes up, and he quickly hybridizes back into his, well, hybridized form. Izuku, Katsuki, Shota, Momo, go into the rear guard. Get every student out of the door as fast as you can. What? Get them out of the opening I made as fast as you damn well can. But trust in me and do it. Kirishima, Kaminari, are you all alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Bastard broke my pack, though. Your pack? My charge pack. It feeds I can store electricity, yeah. But I use a charge pack in order to keep my electricity flowing at high speed, as well as to regenerate it quicker. He destroyed a good bit of it with that last hit of his. I only have I'm running on reserves now. You still have enough for... You still have enough? Enough for what? You know. No. Yep. Kirishima, Kaminari, it's time. It's time for the apex halo of devastation. You fucking nuts. Look at yourself. You're going to be in the center of all that. You think you can handle it? One way to find out, and it's the only way. This sumbitch is way too strong to handle otherwise. You're a crazy bastard, you know that, Izuku? Yep, so I keep getting told. As Izuku charges in his hybridized form against the Rajang. I'll buy you all time, charge up. Right. As Kirishima heads back into the skies, as Kaminari begins to charge up, absorbing the electricity from the environment, trying to get whatever last reserves of energy in his body he can for one big hit. Izuku charges up against the big bad Rajang. And why is he in his hybridized form? Because he's thinking. His monster form is too big, too bulky. It's too easy to get hit. But if I'm a smaller target, he can't hit me nearly as much. Boom! And I don't need to hit him hard. I just need to keep pissing it off. As he constantly lays attack after attack after attack into the Rajang's sides, guts, back, legs, just constantly trying to keep it pissed off. gets back, tries to throw wild, savage punches at Izuku, but he just keeps moving and dodging and weaving. He's using every bit of his outliner style that he knows to dodge and weave and parry those punches. He's still getting hurt from the static. He's still getting hurt from the rampaging electricity coursing throughout this monster's hide. But he knows he has to buy time. As Kirishima and Kaminari store up their power. Meanwhile, oh yeah, funny thing, Aizawa ain't hurt at all. Because if you guys recall, Izuku interrupted the attack. And so when Shigaraki tries to interfere, figuring out what Deku's doing, just pissing it off while the other two charge up, Aizawa charges at them, beating the ever-living tar out of them. Because, face it, without his quirk, Shigaraki's a bitch. I mean, he's noodle-armed at best. And, well, Kurogiri, yeah, without his quirk, yeah, just yeah, in general. Oh yeah. We'll go back to the fight with the Rajang now, because that's more interesting. The fight keeps going, banging on, clanging on, until eventually, a loud shout is heard from Izuku saying, "Are y'all ready yet or what?" They say, "We're ready, go! We can't hold this energy any longer, let loose!" As Izuku goes, finally, Monsterification. And he transforms into the big bad Brachidios himself. Oh boy. His carapace is cracked. His body's injured. His right arm is shattered. But he's still fighting, because that's what Brachidios do. He lays down slime pool after slime pool, circling around the opponent, sidestepping like a true Brachidios sumbitch. He gets him into a circle as the slime circles round, and boom! Knocking that big Rajang right on its ass. As Izuku piles on top of him and starts smashing the ground in between him and the rubble, pinning the Rajang down harder and deeper into that circle, making a giant and even bigger crater. And that's when Izuku starts filling it with his slime, with him inside. He's pinning this raging Rajang, this furious Rajang, in with him. And that's whenever he lets loose the roar that signals the other two, Kirishima and Kaminari. Kaminari calls forth a giant lightning strike right on top of Izuku. And Kirishima lets loose a giant beam of fire straight at the target. At that moment, right in that split second, Izuku jumps out, leaving a very slowed and a near-drowned Rajang in a pool of slime, as it begins to slightly turn a yellow, as the other two attacks hit and intertwine, supercharging it, causing it to go straight from yellow to red to a bright blue. A bright white blue. And in one very loud, very large explosion that can be seen all the way from the UA. Well, what's left of the Rajang isn't much. Oh yeah. Shigaraki, Kurogiri, Aizawa, they all get launched into the wall from the explosive shockwave. 13 was helping the students escape. Almost forgot about her. Sorry about that. They managed to get out just in time for most of the shockwave to be absorbed by the building itself. The glass ceiling, however, well, let's just say it's raining glass right now. As Izuku, well, he powers down into his hybrid state. His right arm shattered, his head bleeding, his slime virtually gone. He's hurting bad. He's hurting real bad. Kaminari and Kirishima, they're mostly okay. A bit dust covered, battered up, bruised, a little bit concussed by the shockwave, as well as a bit deaf. Shigaraki looks at this and says, "Damn it! Cheating bastards. We need to get the hell out of here, Kurogiri. We have to inform the masters that we failed. Cheating bastards." As they fade away, Izuku, seeing them, as they begin to leave, he runs. He takes whatever sore pain he feels in his legs and he brushes it aside. He is pissed. He is raging. He is furious. He wants payback as he rushes towards that portal opening. He rushes full steam ahead. And Shigaraki panics. He actually panics. He hesitates. And that hesitation is all the time Izuku needed to get close. A few brief seconds is all a Brachidios needs after getting up enough of a running start to make one hella leap. And boy does he do it. He lands right next to the wall where Shigaraki is, and he thrusts his left hand into that side, into the side of the wall, right next to his head. And he smacks him dead center with a solid headbutt, telling him, "You're no going anywhere. You have a lot to answer for. I'm gonna make you pay for nearly killing my friends." As Shigaraki looks into the eyes of Izuku and notices something very strange. Very strange. The once solid red eyes are changing. They're evolving. They're turning a bright blue. And I do mean a bright blue. You have pissed me off more than anyone ever has. Congrats. For that, I'm gonna have a lot of fun seeing you rot behind bars. As Kurogiri says, "I don't think so." And essentially opens a portal and pulls Master Shigaraki through. He says, "No, damn it!" As he tries to grapple him. But his arm's already pinned into the wall. And as the portal shuts, it shuts on his horn, cutting it off. Oh yeah. Izuku falls back, hurting, anguished, and he collapses. And that's where I'm going to end it off here, guys. Hope you enjoyed the USJ arc. And if you feel the need necessary, please do comment below. Tell me what you enjoyed about it, and if anything, tell me what you didn't enjoy about it. Just don't be butts about it, okay? I have feelings, even though I bury them deep down inside. Alright, bye for now. This has been your humble narrator, telling you in a few hours, there'll be another one. Bye.